Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off in a kneeling position. Bring your hands to rest on your thighs and give yourself a few moments to come into your breath here. Feel the expansion of your belly and your ribs with every inhale. And with every exhale, feel your body deflate. Let your spine sit up just a little bit taller. And then start to bring yourself up to stand on your knees. Reach your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers and release your index finger. Pull your shoulders down your back and tip yourself over to the right. Gentle, easy side body bend. Bring yourself back to center and then tick-tock yourself over to the left. Feel that length all along your right side. Inhale, bring yourself back up to center. Release your hands, bring them down to the ground into a tabletop position. From your tabletop, reach your right arm straight up to the ceiling, find a nice open twist. And now bring your right hand underneath your left elbow. We're gonna repeat this a few times, coming into thread the needle, coming up and down. Take this about 5 times, just starting to feel that rotation into your spine, into your rib cage. Actively press down through your bottom left hand. And then after your 5th time, hold the thread of the needle. Hold your right arm underneath your left, bring your right ear down to the mat. And then take your left hand, bring it to your right wrist, and actively pull your right hand away from your body. So you feel even a deeper stretch between your shoulder blades. Just breathe here. Nice big breath in. And full big breath out. Bring your left hand next to your nose, reach your right arm back up to the ceiling, find your twist. Come back to tabletop. We take all of this to the second side. Extend your left arm up to the ceiling, open through your chest, and then bring your left hand underneath your right armpit. And we take this about 5 times total, starting to find a little bit of action in your bottom right palm. And beginning to open up and find that nice rotation through your ribs, through your spine. And after your 5th go around, hold the twist. So give it a couple more times here, just kind of warming up through the chest. And then hold the thread of the needle with your left ear down to the mat, and then bring your right hand to your left wrist and think of really pulling your left wrist away from your body. That'll give just a little extra stretch between your shoulder blades and into your neck. Give yourself a few big breaths here. And then slowly place your right hand next to your nose, press down into your right hand, reach your left arm up, and move back to your tabletop position. Flip your toes under, find downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in this first downward facing dog. Feel length through both backs of your legs. And on your inhale, lift your right leg up. And on your exhale, pull your right knee towards your left elbow. Now lower it down to your left wrist. Pull it back up to your left elbow, find 3-legged dog. We're gonna take this 5 times total, this cross-body series. Pull the right knee to your left elbow, lower it down to your left wrist, bring it back up to your elbow, find your 3-legged dog. So starting to find a lot of activation into the obliques and into the shoulders as well. That rolling forward motion finds a lot of stability and action in the core. 5 times total here, move with your breath. Try to bring your knee all the way across to your left elbow. Try to make contact if possible. Feel that crunch. 3-legged dog. And now this time, step your right foot so it comes outside of your right hand. So you're coming into a wider lunge. And from here, find your twist. Keep your left hand down, reach your right arm up. And now thread your needle so your right arm will come underneath your left armpit. And we do that again. Re-extend your right fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, find this rotation. And keep this moving, continue these twists. Similar to what we found in your all fours position, but now we're in this lunge, so we're gonna feel this a little bit differently, especially into the right hamstring and outer hip. Find the movement of your spine around the stability of your legs. And now hold your twist, reach your right arm up. Bring your right hand down to the ground. 3-legged dog, send your right leg up into the air. And then bend your right knee and open your hip. Just take a moment to open through the front of your right hip especially. And replace your right foot back down to the ground. You're back in your downward facing dog. We take everything to the second side. Inhale, lift your left leg high and pull your left knee across to your right elbow. feel that crunch through your oblique. Try to make contact. Lower your left knee to your right wrist. Lift it back up to your elbow. Find your three-legged dog and continue to move through this. Pull your knee across the body to your right elbow. Lower, lift, and re-extend three-legged dog. Press into your palms. Starting to find this activation in your right oblique, nice control. And try to bring your left knee all the way across to your right elbow. So you're really using that oblique to bring the knee over. Lower and lift, find three-legged dog. Make sure that you're breathing in this exercise. Bring it across, lower the knee, lift, find your three-legged dog. And now in this one, step your left foot outside of your left hand. You're in a wider lunge position. Move into your twist, right hand down, left arm up. And from your twist, start to thread your needle. So your left arm will come underneath your right armpit, and you can find a little rotation, especially through your thoracic, that's your upper spine. And we take this about 5 times, just moving through these 2 rotational movements. And you might feel an extra little pull into your right hip flexor here. Continue to actively press down into your right palm. Open and expand through your chest, expand through your heart. Give yourself a few more breaths here, a few more movements. And after your 5th time, bring your left hand back down to the ground. Find three-legged dog, press into your hands, reach your left leg up, and bend your left knee, open your hip. And then replace your left foot back down to the ground. You're back in your downward facing dog. Start to walk your feet up towards your hands. So you're coming into a ragdoll forward fold. Take a little bit of a bend with your knees. You can grab hold of your elbows, really just let yourself hang over. Keep the hold of your elbows and slowly roll yourself up to stand. Stack through your spine, stack through your vertebrae. Your head, shoulders, and gaze are last to arrive. Let your arms drop down by your side. Widen your feet so they're a little bit wider than your shoulders. Open your arms to the side, your palms face forward, and pull your hands back. And then give yourself a hug. So your right arm, elbow, comes underneath your left elbow. Lift your elbows up to the ceiling, and then on your exhale, release. Bend your knees, forward fold, wide-legged forward fold with this big hug. And take a few moments here. Use the weight of your arms to really pull you down. Take a full big breath in. And then keep the hug, soften through your knees, and slowly roll yourself up to stand. We take this all the other way. Open your arms out to the side, pull your arms back behind you, and then we do this the opposite side. So your left arm will come underneath. Point your elbows up to the ceiling, lift your gaze and your heart space with it. And then on your exhale, fold, bend through your knees, send your hips back, and release your torso. Just let yourself hang nice and heavy here. Again, let the weight of your arms bring you down even a little heavier. Take a few more big breaths. And then release your hands. Stay in your wide-legged forward fold and start to stretch your arms out long in front of you. Try to find straight arms. Stretch your left arm, especially out in front of you, and then reach your right arm underneath your left armpit so you're threading the needle. And you can have a bend of your knees if you need to. Try to roll your heart space over to the left. Take a few moments of breath here. This can be a pretty intense little twist and maybe a stretch into the lower right back. Really use the pressure of your hands on the ground to rotate your heart space. Bring yourself back, reach the right hand forward and switch. So the left will come underneath the right, and then rotate your heart over to the right side and just breathe here. Think of that spin of your chest up to the right ceiling as much as you can. Take as deep of a bend in your knees as you need. And just breathe here. And then slowly bring yourself back. Crawl both of your hands out long in front of you again. Send your chest back. So it's kind of like downward facing dog hands, but your legs are wide. Let your chest and your head be heavy. And then step your feet back into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg and pull your right knee to your right wrist. So we're starting to move into a half pigeon. Keep your back toes flipped under for just a moment so you can kind of bounce up and down, find a little bit of lift here, kind of lift and lower that back knee up and down just to kind of adjust yourself a little deeper. And then when you're ready, start to crawl yourself forward into your sleeping pigeon. And if this is not a good option for you, maybe you feel pain or irritation in your knee or your hip, come onto your back and find a supine figure 4. Whichever variation you're taking, just come into your breath and use your breath to expand these tight spaces into the hips. Nice full big breaths in and out. And then you can stay in this variation, or I'm going to give another variation. You can come onto your forearms and then thread your left arm underneath your right armpit. Bring your left ear down to the ground. This is going to be a little more intense. You can stay there. You can stretch your right fingertips forward. You can reach your right fingertips up to the ceiling, or you can wrap the right hand around your lower back. Maybe you catch your foot. Any of those options is fine. If you're trying to thread the needle and if it doesn't feel great in your body, just come out of it. It's just an option, something to try. Maybe try it for a few breaths and then come out of it. Whatever you need. Whichever option or position you've taken, make sure that your breaths are still really deep. And slowly start to bring yourself out. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Flip your back toes. Find your 3-legged dog. Reach your right leg up into the air. Bend your right knee. Open your hip. Just letting some fresh oxygenated blood come back into the joints of your right leg. And replace your right foot back down to the ground. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. And now pull your left knee up towards your left wrist. Moving into your half pigeon second side, keep your right toes flipped under for a moment, and then just take a second to kind of lift and lower your hips, lift and lower your back knee. Let yourself nestle into this position, and when you're ready, start to crawl yourself forward into your sleeping pigeon. Just notice differences you might feel from one side to the other. Wherever you ended with your breath on the first side, try to start there and see if you could go even a little further, even a little deeper. If you need to be on your back in your supine figure 4, that's of course an option. Wherever you are, take a little movement through your jaw. Notice if you're holding on to tension. And then option to experiment with this thread the needle. So you can come onto your forearms, take your right hand underneath your left armpit and roll your right ear down to the ground. Option to stay there or stretch your left fingertips forward. You can stretch your left fingertips straight up to the ceiling, or you can wrap your left hand behind your lower back. Continue to breathe into your belly. Now we're adding a little more of a twist element. Let your ear be heavy, let your torso be heavy. And wherever you are, slowly come out of this. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, flip your back toes, 3-legged dog. Send your left leg up into the air and bend your left knee, open your hip. Take any of those small or big movements, just letting some blood back into the joints of your left leg. And then downward facing dog, left foot back down to the mat. And take a few final breaths in downward facing dog. And slowly lower your knees down to the ground. And move yourself to a cross-legged seat. Bring your hands to rest on your knees or your thighs. Let your eyes close or find a soft gaze, and just take your final few moments of breath here. Come back into your body. Notice any shifts you may feel, maybe physically, maybe mentally, but either way, just give yourself this final gift, this final moment of stillness and silence. Thank you for joining us, and that's your flow.